The real unemployment rate in Canada may be as high as over 30%. As Canadians try to weather the coronavirus lockdown, it is time for politicians to let us work. The new unemployment numbers are in, and they're really, really bad. Actually, probably a lot worse than the liberal-friendly mainstream media is letting on. First, let's start with the low-end numbers, which are terrible enough. We'll go to CTV News for the numbers. Just look at this. The Canadian economy lost almost 2 million jobs in April, a record high, as the closure of non-essential services to slow the spread of COVID-19 forced businesses to shutter temporarily. The loss of 1,993,800 jobs comes on top of the more than 1 million jobs lost in March, and millions more having their hours and incomes slashed. So to be clear, that's 3 million unemployed in Canada in just 2 months. Let's go on. The unemployment rate soared to 13%, Statistics Canada reported as the full force of the pandemic hit, compared with 7.8% in March. It was the second highest unemployment rate on record as job losses spread beyond the service sector to include construction and manufacturing. In all, more than 1/3 of the labor force didn't work or had reduced hours in April, an underutilization rate that was more than 3 times higher than in February before the pandemic struck. Now, closer to home here in Alberta, a place that used to once struggle with labor shortages, it's even worse than the national average. Still, from Global News. New numbers released by Statistics Canada on Friday show the jobless rate in the province spiked to 13.4% in April from 8.7% the month before. Only Newfoundland and Labrador at 16% and Quebec at 17% had higher provincial jobless numbers. Those numbers are horrifying, but in reality, it's probably much, much worse. 2 times as bad. Here's Toronto Sun's Brian Lilly with his analysis on the numbers. StatsCan also said that 1.1 million people were not counted as unemployed because they were not looking for work, even though they would have if the economy hadn't closed up due to COVID-19. The April unemployment rate would be 17.8% when adjusted to reflect those who were not counted as unemployed for reasons specific to the COVID-19 economic shutdown, the agency wrote in its report. The real unemployment rate is likely much higher, at least between 20% and 30%, maybe even higher. The labor force survey that Statistics Canada uses to track unemployment measured between April 19th and 25th, meaning the data is also at least 2 weeks old by this point. Even by April 19th, some 6.7 million Canadians had applied for either EI or CERB. That compares to just 19.1 million people in the workforce before the pandemic hit. 30% unemployment in Canada right now. There is only one way out. We have to get back to work. Let us work. Healthy working age people are not dying of the coronavirus. Look at this. 82% of Canadian virus deaths have been in institutional seniors' homes. The National Institute on Aging says that as of May 6th, 3,436 residents and 6 staff members of long-term care settings had died of COVID-19, representing 82% of the 4,167 deaths reported as of Wednesday. It's time to quit quarantining the healthy and focus on the sick and the aged. To sign our petition calling on our leaders and politicians to let us go back to our jobs and save the businesses that we can, go to letuswork.ca. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn. We have done our part. Now let us go to work. Let Canadians out of house arrest to save the economy of this country and save ourselves from financial calamity. To sign our petition, go to letuswork.ca.